Coming up on Mountain News this morning, as Kentuckians cast their votes today, they will decide who takes a seat in the U.S. Senate, and many Kentuckians may find a lack of options when it comes to who should represent them in the state legislature.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Well, good morning to you. It's Tuesday. It's almost 5 o'clock, and it's election day. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning to you. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast. And Brandon, quickly yesterday, Cameron did the morning weather yesterday, and you did the cut-ins.
Yeah, so it got in a little bit late yesterday due to some circumstances outside of my control this weekend. But again, a little switcheroo. I always make things interesting. Exactly. All right, let's take a look and see what's going on this morning. A little chill out there as you start your day. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s, but overall not a bad day at all to cast ballots today. And as I've said many times before, and I'll say it again right now, if you don't vote, don't complain if you don't like the outcome. All right, we'll see again. The temperature is a little cooler. Coffee, you'll need a little bit of that this morning, a little extra out there today. And then the outdoor forecast features some fairly nice conditions a little bit later on. Clear skies right now. There's actually a lunar eclipse going on right now. I'm going to try to get a graphic in here for you in Maine weather to show that to you. But we'll get about 68 today. Sunny and cooler, but again, not too bad considering we're going to see a couple more nice days before things take a big change toward the end of the week and the weekend. Dakota?
Brennan, thank you. Well, voting will begin in just 1 hour here in Kentucky. County clerks and other election officials across the region have been preparing voting sites. One Perry County man says he believes voting is a very important responsibility.
It just gives me satisfaction to know that I have taken a part in selecting the people that will make the decisions for us. And we want to select people based on the decisions they're going to make for us.
Well, the polls are open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. today. The Secretary of State says more than 253,000 Kentuckians already cast their ballots in early voting Thursday through Saturday. And a key U.S. Senate race is on the ballot here in Kentucky. Senator Rand Paul is seeking another term of office, and he's being challenged by former state lawmaker Charles Booker. Senator Paul was in Lexington on Monday telling supporters today's election is more about people telling big government to get out of the way. Booker spent Monday traveling through his home city of Louisville. He says he wants to prove doubters wrong and in poverty take care of one another and end government hurting people.
It's about being for what we really are for. It's not about accumulating enough power to rule over others. We are the party that believes that power shouldn't be concentrated.
What I've seen across Kentucky are a lot of people of all backgrounds that are tired of the status quo. They're tired of Rand Paul mocking and disrespecting us and disregarding our lives.
Well, Senator Paul says when he wins, he will be a chairman of a committee that will focus on investigating the COVID virus and where he says it came from. Booker says the first order for him is codifying voting and reproductive rights and getting big money out of politics. Many Kentuckians will find they do not have a choice when deciding who should represent them in the state legislature. In 58 of the 100 races on the ballot across the state, there is only one name for voters to pick. In the state Senate, 11 of 19 races are uncontested. One Eastern Kentucky University government professor says the limited options on the ballot could be frustrating for some voters.
We live in a country in which we have this democratic republic, and we're looking for legislators we can choose who can go to Frankfurt or Washington and make decisions on our behalf. And you want to help provide that feedback, that input to the government that's so important in our system of government. If you can't actually make a voting choice in the election, then it provides less opportunity for you to have input or say in what's happening in your community or in your state.
Well, experts say it's too soon to tell if this is a trend, and there are still a lot of races on the ballot that are contested and, of course, important, not to mention 2 constitutional amendments to vote on. And speaking of those amendments, we know the wording can be confusing, so let's just break them down for you this morning. Starting with Amendment 1, this amendment is about changes to the legislative session, end dates, and special session amendment. Voting yes means you agree House and Senate leaders may call a special session. Voting no means you want things to stay the same. Right now, only the governor may call a special session. And now turning to Amendment number 2. This is also being called the No Right to Abortion Constitutional Amendment. If you vote yes on Amendment 2, you want changes to the state constitution to make it clear there is no protected right to abortion. Voting yes also means the General Assembly becomes the sole arbitrator of the state abortion laws and regulation. A no vote means the trigger law ban on most abortion remains. A no vote also means an indirect referendum as the state Supreme Court weighs in. The Kentucky Supreme Court won't hear that case until November 15th. And as of 7 o'clock Monday evening, the State Attorney General's office had gotten 93 pre-election complaints related to this year's general election. Now, if you notice something suspicious or have any questions or concerns, you're urged to call the Election Fraud Hotline at 1-800-328-VOTE. We hope you'll join us this evening for CBS and local election coverage, and you can also find the results as well on WYMT.com and inside our WYMT News app. Well, Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman made a couple of stops in the mountains on Monday, dropping by schools in Floyd and Johnson counties. Now, she is a former educator and went back to her roots to be principal for a day at Allen Elementary School, meeting the students, taking lunch duty, and more. Principal Kyle Shepard says the visit was a great way to show students one of their public servants in a fun way.
The kids were just excited when she'd walk in the classrooms. A lot of them stayed engaged in their lessons, which, you know, I'm glad they did, because that's what they do every day. But, you know, them getting to see her and meet her and gain that deeper understanding of who she is and what her role is.
Well, the Lieutenant Governor also visited Paintsville High School. She says the trip to schools are always a fun and informative time. Well, thank you so much for getting your election day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Just ahead, there's a new warning about climate change that targets the United States specifically. We'll have more on that in just a few minutes.
And there will be absolutely no reason weather-wise not to get out and vote today. I'll have your sunny forecast in about 3 minutes.